Let's bring in Wamsi Mohan. He's an analyst at Bank of America Securities. He has a buy rating and a 215 price target on Apple. Wamsi, it's great to see you. Why do you think the shares have struggled this year?
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. Thanks for having me. I think when you look at the shares this year, primarily you saw weakness and a pullback down to the 150 level when the Russia-Ukraine conflict started. And I think that created a lot of anxiety in investors' minds about what is the implication between China, Taiwan. And so the shares really have rallied since then as some of those concerns have eased off. But as we look at what is really driving the underlying performance, it's the stability of the cash flows. It's the ability for them to deliver very strong results. And despite some of the news flow that you alluded to regarding order cuts of the iPhone, we've actually done work that suggests that the demand remains extremely robust. And the way we come to this conclusion is really looking at what Apple is offering for phones that get traded in. So when Apple sees the demand is strong, they don't need to provide incremental incentives. And so they pare back on those incentives. That is what we're seeing today. If we go back 2-3 years ago to 2019, it was the exact opposite. It was a weak demand environment, and Apple was stimulating demand by trying to really increase what they were offering customers for trade-in. So we think this trade-in really is a very good indicator of understanding what those demand trends are, which remain extremely robust.
So what does it tell you that Apple had to make some supply cuts lately to the iPhone? What is really going on there?
Yeah, it's interesting, Kelly. I think that just like every other company, right, no one wants to be caught short inventory. So there is always an over-ordering of phones into the suppliers. We see this dynamic every time around the September launch where you hear of, 90, 100, 120 million units being placed for the new iPhones. And then eventually by the time December rolls around, you hear about those getting cut down to like 90 or 100. So you just get this dynamic where Apple clearly wants to have enough product available and make sure that the supply chain is prepared for that. The original numbers we heard in the supply chain were about 20 to 30 million units for the iPhone SE, and we're talking about a few million unit cuts. And we model about 17 million units. So we're well south of where eventually these order cuts could even take what those production schedules were. So we think that it's really noise. We think that it's about Apple making sure that there is enough supply for the product and then adjusting based on demand.
1 second.